Hello my friends, and welcome to Lux Recommends, a show where we'll be talking about a particular example in any given media that I think you should experience for yourselves, as well as drawing attention to a particular aspect that it does especially well. Today we're going to be talking about a love story. Anyone who hasn't clicked away already, you have my thanks. Truth be told, there's good reason to run screaming at the mere mention of a love story. We live in a world with books whose idea of showing affection is talking about how pretty a vampire's face is at least once a page, movies where their idea of love is the heroine cheating on her partner with a stranger because, hey, that guy was an asshole anyway and it's definitely true love this time, right? And we have games where at worst the love story is an underdeveloped side note, and at best it's a series of dialogue options that ends in a 30-second fumble with a blue alien. With that in mind, it's incredibly easy to be cynical about the whole concept. Don't get me wrong though, it's not that this kind of thing can't be done well, it's just that it very seldom is. One of the major issues with every example I just mentioned is a galling lack of subtlety, which is where today's recommendation comes in. Shadow of the Colossus is a game originally released in 2005 for the PlayStation 2, developed by Team Ico. It launched to universal critical acclaim, being praised for many of its elements from the unique art style to the musical score, its ambiguous story, and most notably its large-scale enemy encounters. It has quite rightly become a cult classic and is considered by many to be one of the greatest games ever made. One element that has been somewhat overlooked in my opinion though, is the understated implementation of love in the overall plot. Let's take a look at what happens in the intro, and I think you'll see what I mean. Protagonist Wanda arrives on horseback in a place known as the Forbidden Lands, carrying the body of a girl named Mono with him. Upon entering a temple, he places her on an altar, and is greeted by an ominous voice. The voice, known as Dormin, explains that it is possible to wake Mono, but the price Wanda pays could be a terrible one. And then, what I feel is the most important dialogue in the game is uttered. So, to clarify the situation, we have a guy who's entered somewhere so forbidden that it's named as such, carrying a sword he clearly doesn't know how to use, who is determined to save one person in particular, no matter what it takes. He's even willing to take the word of this disembodied entity because there's seemingly no other option. His affection for Mono is what sets the entire story into motion, and it's what drives him forward even when he's facing creatures like this. Is Wanda doing the right thing? Possibly, possibly not. Morality isn't what he's concerned with. He's focused on a singular goal, which just goes to show how much the person he's trying to save means to him. Shadow of the Colossus tells us of Mono's importance with very few words. There's no monologue where the main character weeps and professes his undying love, because there doesn't need to be. His actions say it all. This is a case of the rule of show, don't tell, being executed perfectly. The final thing I'd like to touch upon is the reason I've used the word love so much throughout this video, as opposed to a word like romance, for example. This is probably my favourite detail regarding the whole story, and it's something I've never heard anyone call attention to before. Over the course of the game, there is nothing that leads us to believe that the relationship between Wanda and Mono is a romantic one. They could just as easily be siblings, childhood friends, or any number of other things. Leaving this open to interpretation is a masterstroke. It would have only taken a single line of dialogue to dispel any mystery about what these two characters mean to each other. But by leaving that unsaid, it solidifies what the game's story is constantly trying to show us. Love can mean many things to many different people, and whether there's a romantic connection here or not is irrelevant. The only thing that matters is that in this vast, desolate world, regardless of all else, she is everything to him. And for better or worse, this is proven to us, again and again.